Imagine this. You're doing everything right. You've got your life together, you're confident, and you're treating her with respect. But no matter what you do, she keeps rejecting you. You text her, you try to make plans, but nothing seems to work. Why is she not interested? What are you missing? Here's the harsh truth. Women don't crave nice guys or the ones who try too hard to please them. This may sound shocking, but it's the reality that most men ignore. The secret that keeps women interested isn't about being overly available, showering her with compliments, or being super sweet. Instead, women are drawn to something far more elusive, unshakable confidence. So why do women constantly reject men who seem perfect on paper? It's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're not embodying the mindset that truly attracts them. The truth is, women crave men who are strong, not just in the physical sense, but in their mindset. They want a man who stands his ground, who has his own life and doesn't need validation from anyone. This kind of strength is magnetic. Women can sense it from a mile away. When you're constantly rejected, it's not about fixing yourself or trying to meet someone else's standards. It's about cultivating a mindset that makes you irresistible. Men who are emotionally resilient, who can take rejection in stride and keep going, are the ones women crave. Why? Because those men don't need anyone's approval. They have their own vision and purpose, and they don't let a woman's opinion dictate their self-worth. In this video, we're going to break down why women keep rejecting certain men and why they crave unshakable, confident men. We'll explore the mindset that keeps you attractive and show you how to stop chasing validation and start commanding respect. If you're tired of rejection and ready to finally understand what truly keeps women hooked, keep watching. This isn't about tricks or manipulation. It's about the unshakable confidence that makes women want to chase you instead of the other way around. 1. Women don't want a project. There's a dangerous mindset many men fall into when it comes to dating, thinking that if they fix themselves enough, they can get the woman they want. This idea often leads to constant self-improvement, thinking that it's the way to win her heart. But here's the cold truth. Women don't want to date a project. They don't want to feel like they have to invest endless time and energy into fixing or changing you. Imagine this. You meet a woman, and at first things seem great. But over time, she begins to see you as someone who lacks confidence, direction, or emotional stability. Rather than being drawn to your strength, she starts feeling like she needs to rescue you. Instead of building a healthy, balanced relationship, it becomes all about her helping you become the person she wants you to be. This is draining, and it's not what women want in a partner. Women are looking for a man who is already whole, someone who has his own goals, passions, and emotional stability. If you're constantly in a state of self-improvement, but never really improving, it shows a lack of direction. And if you're trying to fix yourself for her, it gives off the vibe that you're seeking her validation instead of standing firm in who you already are. This is a major turnoff. For example, think about a man who constantly tries to change his style, hobbies, or even his personality just to impress a woman. At first, it might seem like he's trying to win her over, but after a while, she'll see through it. She'll realize that he isn't confident in his own skin and feels the need to mold himself into something he's not just to gain her approval. Over time, this becomes unattractive. She'll want someone who's comfortable in his own shoes, not someone trying to fit into hers. The key here is to focus on improving yourself for your own growth, not for her approval. When you become the best version of yourself, you'll naturally attract the right people. Stop looking for external validation and start validating your own worth. A woman will respect you much more if she sees you as someone who already has his life together. 2. Stop begging for her attention. If there's one thing that's guaranteed to turn a woman off, it's a man who constantly seeks her attention, approval, or validation. Begging for attention doesn't make you more desirable. It makes you seem desperate, and desperation is one of the biggest turnoffs there is. Think about it. When a guy's constantly texting, calling, or looking for any excuse to get her to notice him, it shows insecurity. It's a signal that he's too available, too eager, and honestly, too willing to put aside his own life to please her. Women don't want to feel like they're the center of your universe. They want to feel valued, but not like they're your only focus. For example, imagine a guy who texts a woman over and over just to check if she's still interested. He waits by his phone, hoping for a reply, and if she doesn't respond immediately, he sends more messages, asking if everything is okay. This constant pursuit of her attention doesn't come across as thoughtful. It comes off as needy. And the more needy he seems, the less likely she's going to feel attraction for him. Women want to be chased, yes, but they don't want to feel like they're being hunted down. Attraction grows when there's a sense of mystery and space. When you're constantly begging for her attention, you rob her of that intrigue. She knows you'll always be there, and that predictability makes you less interesting. A man who's focused on his own life, with his own goals and interests, is far more attractive. When you stop begging for her attention, you give her the space to miss you. You give her the chance to chase you. And guess what? Women love to chase. When you're living your own life, focused on your goals and not glued to your phone waiting for her reply, you naturally become more intriguing. You create an aura of self-sufficiency, which makes her want to earn your time and affection. The key is balance. Be interested, but don't be desperate. Don't base your happiness on whether she texts back or not. Focus on building your own life and attract her with your purpose. When you stop begging for her attention, you'll become the kind of man who naturally pulls her in without even trying. 3. Emotions aren't sexy. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that being open about your emotions will bring you closer to a woman. We've all been there, wanting to share your feelings, hoping that vulnerability will make her feel more connected to you. But here's the thing. Too much emotion can be a turnoff. Women don't want to feel like they're responsible for managing your emotions. They want to feel safe, secure, and supported by a man who can handle himself. If you're constantly spilling your emotional baggage on her, she's going to start feeling like she's taking on a role that isn't hers. She's not looking for a therapist, and she certainly doesn't want to be weighed down by someone else's constant emotional roller coaster. Here's the thing you need to understand. Emotions are natural, and it's okay to feel them. But when you let them control you, when they dictate how you act and how you interact with others, you lose that sense of control that makes you attractive. Women are drawn to men who can stay calm and collected under pressure, not to those who are constantly letting their emotions take the wheel. If you can't keep your emotions in check, you're signaling that you're emotionally unstable, and that's not a trait that's going to keep her interested. A woman wants to be with someone who is strong, steady, and emotionally resilient. She doesn't want someone who reacts impulsively to every situation. She doesn't want a guy who falls apart when things don't go his way. Emotional strength doesn't mean being emotionless, but it does mean knowing how to handle your feelings in a way that doesn't overwhelm those around you. Being emotionally available in a healthy way is important, but being emotionally dependent isn't. Women want a man who can hold his own, who can deal with challenges and setbacks without falling into emotional chaos. When you're emotionally balanced, you'll give off the right energy. You'll be the kind of man who draws her in with your calm confidence. Remember, you don't need to show her all your emotions, especially the vulnerable or negative ones, all the time. Keep some of that emotional depth for yourself and only share what's relevant and constructive. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you strong, and strength is what keeps a woman's attraction alive. 3. Emotions aren't sexy. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that being open about your emotions will bring you closer to a woman. We've all been there, wanting to share your feelings, hoping that vulnerability will make her feel more connected to you. But here's the thing. Too much emotion can be a turnoff. Women don't want to feel like they're responsible for managing your emotions. They want to feel safe, secure, and supported by a man who can handle himself. If you're constantly spilling your emotional baggage on her, she's going to start feeling like she's taking on a role that isn't hers. She's not looking for a therapist, and she certainly doesn't want to be weighed down by someone else's constant emotional roller coaster. Here's the thing you need to understand. Emotions are natural, and it's okay to feel them. But when you let them control you, when they dictate how you act and how you interact with others, you lose that sense of control that makes you attractive. Women are drawn to men who can stay calm and collected under pressure, not to those who are constantly letting their emotions take the wheel. If you can't keep your emotions in check, You're signaling that you're emotionally unstable, and that's not a trait that's going to keep her interested. A woman wants to be with someone who is strong, steady, and emotionally resilient. She doesn't want someone who reacts impulsively to every situation. She doesn't want a guy who falls apart when things don't go his way. Emotional strength doesn't mean being emotionless, but it does mean knowing how to handle your feelings in a way that doesn't overwhelm those around you. Being emotionally available in a healthy way is important, but being emotionally dependent isn't. Women want a man who can hold his own, who can deal with challenges and setbacks without falling into emotional chaos. When you're emotionally balanced, you'll give off the right energy. You'll be the kind of man who draws her in with your calm confidence. Remember, you don't need to show her all your emotions, especially the vulnerable or negative ones, all the time. Keep some of that emotional depth for yourself and only share what's relevant and constructive. This doesn't make you cold. It makes you strong, and strength is what keeps a woman's attraction alive. 5. Chase her and she'll run. It's a simple truth that many men just don't seem to understand. Chasing a woman is the quickest way to push her away. You might think that if you pursue her hard enough, show her how much you care, and give her constant attention, she'll eventually fall for you. But this mindset is flawed, and here's why. When you chase her, you put her on a pedestal. You make her the center of your world, and in doing so, you give her all the power. You're no longer seen as a strong, self-sufficient man. You're someone who needs her to feel validated. That's not attractive. Women want to be with a man who is secure in himself, not one who depends on her for emotional fulfillment. It's time for a wake-up call, gentlemen. Chasing her signals neediness, and neediness is a massive turnoff. When you constantly chase her, you're telling her that you don't have a life outside of her. You're putting all your eggs in her basket, and guess what? That basket isn't nearly as sturdy as you think. Women don't want to feel like they're your only source of happiness. They want a man who can stand on his own 2 feet, with or without them. The irony here is that the more you chase her, the less likely she is to feel attracted to you. Why? Because when you're chasing, you're giving her no reason to chase you back. You're handing her all the power in the relationship, and women want a man who can keep them on their toes a little bit, not someone who's desperate for their approval. Instead of chasing, you need to focus on being the man who commands respect without having to beg for it. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their own lives, who don't rely on them to feel complete. When you take a step back and focus on your own goals, she'll start to see you as someone with value, not just someone who's there when she needs you. So here's the bottom line. If you're constantly chasing her, stop. Step back and focus on your life, your passions, and your purpose. Let her chase you for a change. Women want a man who is so secure in himself that they have to earn his attention, not the other way around. 6. Confidence. Arrogance. Let's get one thing straight. There's a huge difference between confidence and arrogance, and many men fail to understand this distinction. Confidence is attractive. Arrogance is a turnoff. It's as simple as that. But too many guys think that in order to attract women, they need to act like they're better than everyone else, which ends up backfiring. Confidence isn't about bragging or belittling others to make yourself feel superior. It's not about walking around with a chip on your shoulder, trying to prove something. True confidence comes from knowing who you are, being secure in your own skin, and not needing to seek validation from others. When you walk into a room and own it, without acting like you're the only person who matters, that's when you're showing real confidence. On the other hand, arrogance is rooted in insecurity. It's a defense mechanism used by men who are compensating for their own self-doubt. When a man acts arrogant, it's often because he's afraid that others will see his flaws, so he inflates his worth to protect himself. Women can see through this easily. They can tell when someone is trying too hard to appear superior, and it's a huge turnoff. It makes you look like you're putting others down just to elevate yourself, which isn't attractive at all. Women want a man who is comfortable in his own skin, who doesn't need to put on a show or act superior to others. Confidence is magnetic because it shows that you don't need anyone's approval. You're secure with who you are and where you stand in the world. You're not looking for validation from others. And because of that, people are naturally drawn to you. Here's the thing. If you're arrogant, you're probably pushing people away without even realizing it. No one wants to be around someone who's always trying to one-up them or act like they know it all. But if you're genuinely confident, you attract people because you're grounded, calm, and self-assured. To be clear, confidence is about knowing your worth without needing to prove it to everyone. Arrogance, on the other hand, is just a mask for insecurity. Women can tell the difference, and they'll always gravitate towards the guy who is confident, not the one who is arrogant. 7. Rejection builds strength. If there's one thing every man needs to understand, it's this. Rejection isn't the end of the world. It's an opportunity for growth. Too many men take rejection personally and let it crush their confidence. But here's the reality. If you can't handle rejection like a man, you'll never build the strength and resilience that truly attracts women. When you get rejected by a woman, it's easy to feel like you're not good enough or that something is wrong with you. But the truth is, rejection happens to everyone. It's part of life. It's not a reflection of your worth as a person. It's simply a mismatch. She might not be the right fit for you, and that's okay. Getting rejected doesn't define you. How you respond to it does. What separates strong men from weak ones is the ability to take rejection in stride and bounce back. Instead of sulking or letting it affect your self-esteem, use it as a chance to reflect and grow. Rejection is your teacher. It's a reminder that your value doesn't depend on anyone's approval and that the right person will come along when the time is right. The key is to see rejection as an opportunity to improve, not as a failure. Every time you face rejection, you have the chance to get better, whether that's becoming more emotionally resilient, refining your approach, or just learning to let go of things you can't control. The more you face rejection and keep moving forward, the stronger you become. Rejection also helps you develop the mindset of independence. You stop relying on someone else's acceptance to feel good about yourself. Instead of clinging to the hope that a woman will validate you, you start valuing yourself without needing her to say yes. You begin to realize that you are enough on your own, and that makes you more attractive. Not only to women, but to everyone you meet. So here's the advice. Don't be afraid of rejection. Use it as fuel to grow stronger. Learn from it, move forward, and keep building your emotional resilience. The man who can take rejection with grace and strength is the one who will always come out on top. Rejection is not a setback. It's a stepping stone to becoming the best version of yourself. 8. Mystery wins her heart. One of the biggest mistakes many men make in dating is revealing too much, too soon. Women crave mystery. If you open up and tell her everything about your life, your past, your emotions, and your intentions right away, you're taking away the excitement of getting to know you. And when there's no mystery, there's no intrigue, no chase, no reason for her to keep coming back. Here's the thing. People love a good puzzle, and women are no different. The more she has to figure you out, the more invested she becomes. When you're an open book, you stop being interesting. If she can predict every move you make, every text you send, and every word you say, the attraction fizzles out. But when you hold back just a little, when she has to wonder what you're thinking or what's next, she stays hooked. Mystery doesn't mean playing games or being dishonest. It means holding on to some of your thoughts and experiences for yourself, at least for a little while. Give her just enough to keep her interested, but not everything all at once. Share bits and pieces of yourself over time and let her get curious. Let her ask questions, dig deeper, and earn the right to know more about you. This creates a sense of anticipation, and anticipation is powerful in building attraction. Imagine this. You meet a woman, and instead of oversharing about your life and feelings, you keep things light. You don't reveal everything on the first date. You stay a little distant emotionally, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're showing that you have a life of your own. You're not desperate to win her approval. You're confident enough to let her come to you. This subtle mystery creates a dynamic where she wants to invest more in figuring you out. It adds excitement and intrigue to the relationship. And when a woman feels like there's something more to uncover, she becomes more engaged and drawn to you. She doesn't want the chase to end. The more she has to work for it, the more she'll appreciate and respect you. So if you want to win her heart, remember this. Be a man of mystery. Don't overshare. Don't lay all your cards on the table too soon. Let her slowly uncover the layers of who you are. That's what keeps her coming back for more. 9 boundaries build respect. One of the most powerful things you can do as a man is set clear boundaries and stick to them. Without boundaries, you're not just losing respect, you're losing yourself. A woman will never respect you if you don't respect yourself enough to set limits on how you expect to be treated. Boundaries aren't about being harsh or distant. They're about showing that you have standards and that you won't tolerate being mistreated. Too many men think that in order to keep a woman around, they need to be constantly accommodating, saying yes to everything, and bending over backward to please her. But here's the reality. If you let her walk all over you, she won't value you. Women are attracted to men who stand up for themselves, who know their worth, and who aren't afraid to draw a line when something doesn't sit right. Boundaries are essential because they protect your time, energy, and emotional well-being. If you allow a woman to disrespect you, overstep your personal space, or demand things that make you uncomfortable, you're setting yourself up for frustration and disappointment. But when you establish boundaries, you're sending a clear message. You are not here to serve her needs at the cost of your own. You are not afraid to walk away from a situation that doesn't align with your values. For example, if she expects you to always drop everything for her, or if she disrespects your time, you have to be willing to say no. Saying no isn't rude, it's a sign of strength. It's showing her that you have a life outside of her and that you're not just here to be at her beck and call. The more you uphold your boundaries, the more she will respect you, not only because you're showing your worth, but because you're showing her that you value yourself first. The truth is, women crave a man who is firm, not flexible when it comes to his principles. Boundaries foster a sense of emotional safety and trust. When a woman knows that you won't tolerate mistreatment, it creates an environment where respect can thrive. So don't be afraid to set boundaries and don't back down. Respect yourself enough to demand it from others. When you do, you'll find that the right woman will not only respect you more, but she'll be even more attracted to you. 10. Be a man of purpose. The most attractive quality you can have as a man isn't good looks, wealth, or status. It's having a clear sense of purpose. When you live a life that is driven by a deeper mission or vision, everything about you becomes magnetic. Women are not drawn to men who are just drifting through life, hoping things will work out. They are drawn to men who know exactly where they're going and why they're going there. Here's the hard truth. If you don't know your purpose, no one else will take you seriously. Purpose is the foundation of your confidence, your strength, and your identity. It's the driving force behind everything you do, and it shows in the way you carry yourself. A man with purpose is a man who knows his value and knows what he brings to the table. He's not chasing anyone's approval because he's already focused on something bigger than himself. When you're a man of purpose, your life has direction. You're not living for others, you're living for yourself and your vision. And that's incredibly attractive to women. They want to be with someone who is passionate, driven, and focused. A man who is constantly working towards something meaningful doesn't have time to chase or beg for attention. He's too busy building, creating, and working on his goals. This doesn't mean you need to be a billionaire or a famous CEO to attract a woman. Purpose can be anything. Pursuing a career, mastering a skill, building a business, or even dedicating yourself to personal growth. It's about having something that excites you, something that challenges you, and something that gets you up in the morning with enthusiasm. When you have a sense of purpose, your actions speak for themselves. You don't need to impress her with your words or try to win her over. You attract her with your drive, your focus, and your ambition. Women want to be with a man who is going places, someone who isn't just sitting around waiting for life to happen. They want to feel like they're a part of your journey, not the other way around. So here's the final piece of advice. If you're not living with purpose, start now. Find what drives you, chase it relentlessly, and become the man who commands respect and admiration. When you live with purpose, you'll become the man every woman dreams of. Conclusion. Here's the harsh reality. Most of you guys are not as attractive as you think. The truth is, no woman is interested in a man who isn't living with purpose, who isn't in control of his emotions, and who doesn't value himself enough to set boundaries. If you're constantly getting rejected, maybe it's time to look in the mirror and ask yourself why. It's not always about how you look or what you have. It's about how you show up in the world. A lot of men are stuck in a cycle of desperation, chasing women who aren't interested and never asking the right questions about themselves. Until you stop seeking validation and start living for yourself, you'll keep spinning your wheels. That's the cold, hard truth. So I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below with your thoughts and experiences. What's been working for you? What hasn't? I read every comment, and I'll personally reach out to those who engage. Let's have a conversation and connect. Remember, the journey to becoming the best version of yourself is a process, and I'm here to help guide you along the way.